Hey everybody, Brian Macias here. Just gonna keep this as casual as possible and informal. The other day I was telling both Brewer and Barlow about my history as an entrepreneur, and I'm not really a big fan of labels. Just because you've started a business, it doesn't make you an entrepreneur, and just because you have a business, it doesn't make you an entrepreneur. But I've always had the bug to work for myself, and I don't know what it is. I'm probably just a square peg in a round hole in most places. I like to work in an unorthodox manner, and I don't like authority all that much. So being self-employed is a good thing for somebody like me, although I will say I've struggled with it and I've given it many shots. So let me run you through my scenarios of self-employment and what I learned through the different scenarios and why I'm so excited about Covered and the opportunity that I'm going to be able to give other people who want to be self-employed, and why this is a phenomenal opportunity compared to other things that I've done. So when I first graduated college, I started this business with this guy, and it was a network consulting business. And at the time, listen, the internet wasn't a huge thing. I mean, there was AOL and there was Netscape, and you could do those kinds of things, and it was dial-up and whatever. So offices were just getting started with really wiring, with Cat3 wiring, and building networks inside their offices and those kinds of things. And so I partnered with this guy who was the engineer. He was the know-how, and I was going to be on the sales side. I had a lot of success out of the gate of setting up appointments through cold calls and getting things to the point where we could do deals, and we even had a few deals under our belt, and it was great. But one of the things that we learned is that we were really kind of ahead of the curve. We just wanted to set up the networks, but what people really needed is they needed us to get like in the rafters and behind the walls and pull Cat3 wiring. And listen, that's just not my gig. Like I'm willing to work hard. There's no doubt about it. I mean, I've landscaped, I've worked hard in my life, but like that just wasn't how I envisioned the business. And so also I picked a bad partner. So what I learned is the most important thing was not really knowing the market as well as we should have, and then also not picking the right partner in the business. And so I learned that if you're gonna get into business with somebody, you really have to know that person. You really have to have faith in them and trust them inherently. And their skill set has to really complement yours, and I didn't have that with that first business. So I ended up going to work for Quicken Loans after that, which was a phenomenal experience for me, and I'm so glad that I did, because really I credit that with where I am today. But with that being said, in 2007, the mortgage market crashed, and again, I had that entrepreneurial bug. So I started a consulting company. And I started consulting a lot of the CEOs that I had gotten to know through Quicken Loans. And very quickly, I was doing 5 figures a month in consulting, and I had my first $30,000 month, and I'll never forget, it was great. But what I'll tell you about that month is I literally didn't have a minute to do anything but work. And so much so, my wife scheduled out literally every minute of my time to where I would be. So I'd spend all day at a client's office, and then I would come back, and I was developing an online computer-based training platform, and then I would spend hours working on that and delivering that to another client. And it was phenomenal because I got it all done and I was doing work that I love to do. The problem was that I quickly realized that being a consultant is just not scalable. As I started to build up more and more clients, I would try to bring in other people who had similar skill sets as mine and put them in with my clients, but the clients didn't like that. They didn't want the other people, they wanted me. They saw me as the product, and the problem with me being the product is that that's not scalable. The only time I could make money is if I was working at that point. There was no asset, there was nothing I could really resell, there was nothing I was building equity or value in, and if I got hit by a bus, my family, they were screwed, right? Because if I wasn't there to make money and there was no residuals coming in, then that's no good. So I ended up going to work full-time for one of my clients at the time, myinsuranceexpert.com, and that was also a phenomenal experience for me. I learned about being in a startup and going through rounds of funding. I'll never forget the time we flew across Lake Michigan in this old airplane and went to meet with I think the company's name was Lightbank. Yeah, that's what it is. At the time, they were the VC for Groupon, and we pitched them. That was exciting. I learned a ton about entrepreneurship from doing that, and I wouldn't replace that experience. In 2012, I got the bug again. and working with one of the guys that I really, to this day, still love, Devin, we started a video production company because we saw that motion graphics were becoming huge and companies needed videos for their websites. And so out of the gate, I brought Devin in, we built the business up, and really it got to the point where like it was making a little bit of money. Devin was an employee, he was making money, it was great, but it was time to either put money into the business or just kind of let it keep going the way that it was. And for me, it was like, it just wasn't exciting the way that it was. But at the same time, I didn't have the appetite to put $100,000 or $200,000 into the business at the time. I had the money, but I just didn't have that kind of appetite. It just wasn't the kind of thing I wanted to put that much capital into. And maybe that's where my kind of risk aversity started to sink in a little bit. And so I realized that, hey, I was either gonna have to put up or shut up. So I shut up and I got out of that business, and I put Devin in a place where he could continue to run it and make money on his own, and he continues to do that, and he does a great job with it. And I came to work for National General after that. So the thing I learned with that experience was that was a scalable business, and it did have the opportunity to really be a fantastic business, and still does, but I just didn't have the appetite to put the capital in. You know, at the time, I was 35 years old, I have a wife, I have 2 kids, and you know, I just didn't have the room to take our savings and do something like that. I actually had a lot to lose, and I think that in a business environment like that, and to be an entrepreneur like that, you either have to be in a position where you're a trust fund baby and you have a bunch of your parents' money and you're either inheriting your parents' business or you're using their money to fund it, and or you have nothing to lose. So you might as well throw all your money into it, right? So, and I was in neither one of those positions. I had to work for everything that I had, and I'm the sole provider for my family, and so that just wasn't a luxury that I had. So it comes back to capital and your willingness. One, either you have the capital or you don't, and 2, if you have it, your willingness to actually put it into something and grow something. So here we are now, 6 years into National General. We've had so much amazing success. We've built out incredible inside sales teams. We took a business that was on the decline for 20 years in terms of our affinity and direct-to-consumer business. We turned it around. We've been growing it for 4 years consistently now. And now we're taking all of the assets and all of our learnings from that, and we're creating a self-employed opportunity for all kinds of different people. One is, if you're just like me and you've had that entrepreneurial bug, or you just have the bug to have your own business, this is for you. And it really checks all the boxes of everything that I learned along the way. One is, it's a way to make money while you're sleeping, because insurance is the original residual business. You write this business, and every month that the people that you have enrolled pay, you're getting paid too. And then the other beauty is this: you can build a team without any capital outlay. So when I was in the Pictomoto business and it was time to scale a team, I had to think about putting a couple $100,000 into something. You don't have to do that. You just gotta sell them on the idea that this is a phenomenal business, and just like you, the only capital that they need is their time and their effort and their skill set, and if they can come on board with you, you start making money with them. So it's scalable. You have an asset. So this is the kind of business that as you start to sign up people on your own, you start to enroll people in health insurance, which, by the way, I'll get to in a minute. This is the perfect time to be in that business. You're gonna get paid on the direct premiums that you wrote, but you're also gonna get paid on the premiums that the other people write. So this is when you start making business, or when you start making money while you're sleeping. That's an asset. That's something that pays you even when you're not working. It's worth something. So that cures the other problem I had in my consulting business. So what I'm telling you is, take the advice of an old 40-year-old guy who's done this already, and I know the pitfalls. I still have that desire to be self-employed, and you know, I'm lucky now. I've put in my years. I'm 40 at this point. I've grinded it out, and I'm in a place where I'm allowed to work in an unorthodox manner. People don't know where I am or care where I am because they know that I'm gonna get the job done, and they know my work ethic anyway. So I have that flexibility. But if you're a young person in your 20s or even in your 30s, you're probably not gonna get that flexibility from an employer. They want to know where you are. You got to punch the clock at a certain time. And if that's not you, if that's not what you want to be doing, this opportunity is for you. Now, don't get me wrong. You're gonna have to work your ass off. You're gonna have to work hard. You have to be willing to get out there, and you have to meet people, and you have to meet small business owners, and you have to talk to your friends and your family, and you have to make sure that they have the health insurance that they need. And not everybody's cut out to do that. They're just not. Right? Some people are too timid. Some people don't want to integrate their professional lives with their personal lives like that. And if that's you, this is not for you. But If you're the kind of person who is the life of the party, who can go in, who can talk to anybody, this could be for you, even if you don't know anything about insurance. Now, let me tell you something about insurance. So, my insurance expert, I'll take you back to 2011. I helped to grow that company to be in the top 3 of all individual health insurance product distributors in the nation. We were crushing it. You know, Obamacare came down the pike. The cost on marketing didn't come down, but the commission certainly did. We had to pivot to life insurance, and that was a mess and the whole thing. Well, this time we get to be on the other side of that. So I don't know if you know this, but recently the Trump administration has now come out, and we are changing the rules around short-term medical and how it works. It's a great alternative for people who are paying just insane premiums through ACA right now. Maybe someday something like the ACA will work, but right now people need other alternatives, and we have that. The opportunity to write the products that we have right now is unprecedented. What Obamacare did to the industry back in 2012, this will be the opposite of that. And if you're getting in now, this is the time to get in, because your access to people who need this care is going to be huge, and your access to the products that we have is tremendous. The perfect timing with the perfect resources. So again, if you're the kind of person who's looking to do your own thing, this is it. I'm telling you, this is the opportunity. It's going to give you the flexibility that you need. It's scalable. You're building an asset that will continue to pay you, and all of the other boxes that I couldn't check off with any of my other things. So thank you for listening. If you've made it this long, I'm interested in hearing from you. Also, hey, I wore some AJ1s to work today. You know, hey, you want to wear AJ1s to work? You want to wear a suit to work? I don't care. All of it goes when you're a covered agent. So let me know, what you think here. I'm interested in hearing from everybody. Let me know in the comments. You can reach out to me at brian.macias@ngic.com. You can find me on Facebook. You can find me on LinkedIn. I want to hear from you guys. Let's get this going.